Welcome to Dear Business Coach, the podcast. My name's Elizabeth. Find one thing to move your business forward today with conversations, spotlights, interviews, articles, and free resources. Listen and follow and subscribe on social media. Dear Business Coach pages and groups. Dear Business Coach podcast. We're on Facebook, LinkedIn, Instagram, YouTube, and don't forget Spotify, Apple, iHeartRadio, Amazon Music, anywhere you listen to podcasts. All it takes sometimes is one little thing to move your business forward today. Hit the record button. And let's see if I get to the right page. So I have 30 minutes with you. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Okay. Let's see. So alrighty, here we go. Now, Stacey Nye, welcome to the Dear Business Coach podcast. How are you today?
I am great, thank you. Very honored to be here.
Wonderful. Now, I have a couple of things to ask you as far as introducing yourself. I would like to read a couple lines from the bio I have on your LinkedIn profile. And Stacey, I know that your mission is to teach the fixed code technique to healing practitioners slash life coaches, therapists, etc. And the technique is cutting edge and is used as an exceptional addition to your existing toolbox. And I also want to say that this is the fixed code by Ancient Gene Technologies. Um, and in your background here, I see some description, some really fantastic story background, which I was enjoying the read here. And I see that you say your first exposure to excellence took place at a young age. Your family's Montreal home was the scene of frequent national and international meetings of the most amazing influencers in gymnastics and wrestling as they prepared for the 1976 Olympic Games. Those scenes are indelibly etched in her mind, in your mind, and became the foundation of your values and goals in life. So you have some early influences. Stacey, will you please introduce yourself, please, and give me a little intro here?
Sure. Yeah, I definitely was born into excellence, that's for sure. My parents are very high achievers. My sister also, throughout her life, has been an incredible high achiever. So I'm from an incredible family. Our goals and values are set very high and definitely are formed from a space of excellence. And it is kind of how I came into when I met the fixed code, when I met this technique about 14 years ago. This is when I had that moment of clarity where I knew I was in the presence of excellence with this technique because I know what excellence looks like, feels like, sounds like, what the frequency of excellence is. And it is that pure space of quantum. It's that it is, well, quantum is pure, but it's like it is really just in that purest space, which is why when I had the technique worked, like when Daniel did the work with me for the very, very first time, which I'll go into the story if you want, is I opened my eyes and said to him, "Oh my gosh, I'm going to figure out what you just did and teach the world how to do this." And those very few words changed my entire life because I did. I really felt that I was in the presence of excellence with this technique, and I really wanted to figure out what he did and teach the world how to do this. And I kept my promise. That's exactly what I'm doing. So, with my background, I come from an Olympic family, and we were trekked around the world to international events such as Commonwealth Games, Pan Am's, Olympic Games, World Championships. And about at the age of about 16, my dad asked me if I wanted to go to Scotland for the Commonwealth Games, because at the time he was the president of the Commonwealth Games Federation for Canada. So I was like, rocking summer job. Yeah, totally on that. Because we had also been at games before, like most of our summers. I think when I was 13, I was in practice for the Pan Am Games. So we had been at international games my entire every summer. But this time I was going to get paid. So this was like, holy smokes. Yeah. So a great summer job. Off I go to Scotland. And I fell in love with it. I absolutely fell in love with the planning, the global impact, the one-on-one impact, all of it. So I asked my dad if I could do this for a living, and he was like, "Stacey, there's no money in sport. Like, there's really no money in sport." And I'm like, Dad, I really want to do this. And he's like, okay. But like, because my parents were doing it in service. There was no, that wasn't what they did for, money.
Oh,
So yeah, I just was like, eventually they did, but not at this time. And I said, I think I'm going to figure this out. And he's like, you go, girl. Like, I'm not the one to stop you. So I did. The next summer, I worked in Indianapolis at the Pan Am Games and got paid. Great summer job. And then they asked me that the Canadian team asked me if I wished to go to the Calgary Olympics with them. And I said yes. Now I had to figure out my grade 13 because back in Canada and Ontario, we still had grade 13. And I had to finish my exams and speed up my school and do everything to be able to graduate. But I did it. I wrote my last exam. My mom picked me up at school and took me to the airport, and I got on a plane and went to the Calgary Olympic Games and just kept going. And then I did Seoul Olympics in '88. So I really did show my dad I could make a living at this and have a blast and travel the world. And I did. And I ended up having about a 22-year career in all of that. I've done 4 Olympic Games. By the time I kind of retired that world, I had done 4 Olympic Games already and traveled the world 10 times over. But I'd also worked at the at on international global events such as the AIDS conference, the very first AIDS conference that was in Canada in 1996. They'd never seen that kind of numbers before, so I was brought out to Vancouver to work on all the operations and that kind of thing. So I have this operational, my girlfriends call it a Rubik's Cube mind that sees
mhm.
things that, that kind of like all the abstract stuff that you can't see but needs to get figured out or done, or, to move millions of people through spaces, or each individual having a beautiful experience. So I feel like my entire life I was being trained for that moment with Daniel. That when I met Daniel and what is now called the Fixed Code, when I met him, there was no name. He had no name for what he did. Um, and then yeah, I just kind of in that moment just said, "Yeah, hi, I'm Stacey." I didn't even know his name when I met him. I just said, "Yeah, I gotta figure out what you just did, and I gotta share this with the world, teach this to the world." And he was like, "I don't know about that." I'm like, "Yeah, hi, I'm Stacey, and you are who?" Daniel. Great, excellent, nice to meet you. And yeah, we are. This is exactly what I'm gonna go do. And I just said to him at first, like heal me, because I wasn't in a good place when I met Daniel. I had gone through a specific like a kind of a trauma. What it happened one night and it changed the trajectory of the next 20 years. Um, and then kind of the fallout of that trauma just kept going, going, and going, and the bottom kept falling out every time I kind of got up. The bottom would fall out again, and just kind of catching my breath for a very, very, very long time. And until eventually my marriage ended, that and then that was kind of like the big fallout. And it was like, okay, I got to start all over here. So, which I did. And that was to me the fixed code. And I started an entirely new journey, new life, new goals, and fell in love with this technique. Like, and it does. It helps people with horrible feelings. It helps people with fears. So anybody in business, I have a client list that's a mile long. Um, and it is a lot of them are business people. A lot of them are like, people will use this technique or call me as a business coach, call it. They'll call me from the hallway going into a multi-million-dollar deal, and they're having a panic attack in the hallway going, I'm going to screw this up. I'm going to say something and I'm like, get somewhere, put your earbuds in, let's do the technique. And we do, it takes 5 minutes. And they're as calm as can be when they walk into that boardroom. The sweat stops. Their mind is clear. They can think. They can choose their words carefully. They can focus. They can read the room. So I do this with athletes, pro athletes. And I also do this with 5-year-olds, if they're having a bad day. So the range of what this technique can do, can not so much the range of the technique. The technique is what it is. It's who it can be used on is everybody. Because
Mm.
if you're feeling a fear of any kind, whether that's the fear of going to school for the first time, or the feeling bullied at in kindergarten or whatever it is, to a multi-billion-dollar deal on the table that if you don't close this deal, you're in trouble or whatever it is. like you could lose your job and all of that. So it helps everybody, anywhere, anytime.
Are you a LinkedIn user? If you are, you can join me for LinkedIn Live Audio with Elizabeth every week, usually on Mondays at 8:30 a.m. Eastern Time. I will have a LinkedIn Live Audio where we talk about podcasting for executives who speak and podcasting for team leaders who speak. These are the themes that are currently running. If that sounds like something you're interested, visit me, Elizabeth Walker at Work, on my LinkedIn profile.
And my true passion is teaching amazing people how to do this so that they can turn around and help their clients um, in all of those moments that their clients need help, just to get past the moment. Yeah.
Okay, so that's interesting. Now you had said that it wasn't called the fixed code. So when you started or when you learned this technique, and is that what it is, a technique that is trainable and transferable? So
Yeah.
how do you explain to me the first time I say help? I really am feeling like anxiety. So you said fear. I was also reading that we use the word anxiety with you
Yeah.
as far as what we're
Yeah.
addressing here. So
Yeah.
are they different? And um, is that the main focus, is to address fear and anxiety?
It's more blocks, especially like if I were to break kind of down the people that I've worked, that like my client list. I've got everything from, my 5-year-olds that feel bullied, or people that feel bullied at work. That takes 5 minutes, to people that are in business that are feeling blocked, that
Hmm.
can't seem to get through whatever it is, or their brain is scrambled. They can't think. Um, they are they're worried about something. Like something's happening at home, and they're not able to focus at work, or something like that. Um, I work with a lot of women entrepreneurs that are, women entrepreneurs have got a lot on their plate. Everybody does have a lot on their plate, but it's building a business is hard, especially if you come from the corporate world and you're now at home. Life changes, expectations, salary changes, all those kinds of things. So this can be used for absolutely anything that you're feeling right now that's stopping you from living the life that you want, having the business that you want, feeling the way that you want. It removes the blocks, whether that's anxiety or crappy feelings, whatever it is, it's stopping you. So it's that resistance to get it done. Now, most business people get it done anyways, right? Like they march through it, which is super cool. I mean, I'm a Nike commercial on myself. So it's right, but it's you don't have to feel, you don't have to worry about it. Like this can be, so for example, pro athletes, they get the yips, or all of a sudden like their scores are down, or their lag time, like their response time is slower. They're now feeling like they're going to fail. They're feeling like they're not going to get to world championships. They feel like they're going to fall on stage, whatever, or trip on stage. It's just like weird moments that this can help, no matter what the feeling is. So you asked me a great question. I love how that came at me. Was, if in this moment, how can I help you? Okay. If you came to me and said, "I need help," this is one of the things I love about this technique. And I love so many things about this technique, but this is one of them. We don't really know each other. You can come
Mhm.
to me and say, "Stacey, how can you help me right now?" And my question to you would be, biggest problem you have in your life right now, when you think about it, you don't need to tell me any of the detail. I don't need to know any of it. But whatever you're thinking about, how does it make you feel when you think about it right now? If you could give it one or two words, like if you could put it in one or two words, what would it be? Whatever you answer right now, we would then do the work, and the work feels like a guided meditation, and it just takes a couple minutes. And that feeling that you're feeling right now, you would never feel again. And all of the other stories that were attached to that feeling, because there's thousands of them, will also now not be coming up into your mind all the time. You know that rat maze feeling or that loop, you can't get out of the loop? Okay, this stops that immediately. The loop stops because the loop, what is causing the loop is the stories, all the stories that are attached to that feeling. So what we do is the technique disconnects the feeling so that all the stories that are on that loop no longer happen. They no longer come up into the mind. They go back into the timeline where they belong in the past. That's it. Or with fear or anxiety, you're making pictures of the future going wrong. So now you're projecting a bad outcome or a worry or something like that. And again, this technique pulls it up and like it just removes it completely so that those pictures stop coming up and freaking you out or making you nervous or making you anxious or giving you hot flashes. It's like, whoa.
Yeah.
So yeah, so as business coaches and as life coaches, this tool allows you to work with your clients in the moment when they need you.
Yeah,
And you
that's
can,
really interesting. So, fascinating to me that you are specifically speaking to a technique that I can immediately turn around and help others with. So,
yeah,
I can transfer I can transfer what I learned from you to help other
the
people.
knowledge.
So,
Yes.
so when I'm helping a client and I'm identifying somebody in the moment, right, and
Yeah.
under pressure, I all of a sudden for whatever reason am freezing, and so I have an extra tool in my box to give my client, and that's exactly how you say that. It's
Yeah.
in addition to your toolbox. Now, what you've been doing this, am I reading correctly, that you've been doing this for almost 15 years or a little over
Yeah.
14 years? And
Yeah.
so I'm so curious what I'm so curious what spurred you to say this is what I have to do. I heard a little bit, of course, of some personal motivation where you had some needs for a very, very long time, perceived, noticed, or otherwise. So something was happening for you when you came to the fixed code, or what did you say? It wasn't called the fixed code then. So what was happening right then? You you met Daniel, and you said, "What did you just do to me?" So what can you share a little bit of a in the moment story of what that day was like?
Yeah, for sure. Well, when I had a friend of mine had actually booked the appointment for me because at the time I actually owned a gymnastics club for little kids. So in a small town, so I knew everybody. Every kid knew me. Every mom dropped their kids off at my gym. So and I was part of the Christmas parade. I was very much a part of the community, and the women around me, the moms around me, even though I was very private and I didn't talk about anything, because that was just my style. Um, One of them kind of popped her head into my office one night and said, "Hey, sweetie, like we're not sure what's going on with you, but we know something big is happening. Like, And meanwhile, I've got tears coming down my face. And she's like, "But I met a friend of mine, like an old friend of mine from high school, at this um, healing life coaching kind of event, and he's doing this thing, and it's so freaking cool. Anyways, I booked you an appointment. Hope you don't mind." And I'm like, "That's very kind. Thank you so much." So for the 2 days between this moment and then my appointment, I'm like, if this guy makes me drink toad pee and it works, I'm drinking toad pee. Like I needed to feel
Hmm.
better. I was collapsing on the inside and I didn't know how to communicate to anybody or how to express what was going on. And I didn't look outward. Like I was trying to figure it out myself, like get over all of these yucky feelings, like just get on with it. And I had actually just gotten separated after 20 years of marriage. So I was thrown, and I've got a 5 year old, and I'm running a business, a big business. It's a 7 day a week, 14-hour day business. So again, massive bottom fell out of my life. And so I was just coping, I guess the word, I was just coping. So when I walked into this space, it's my girlfriend opened the door and I looked at this gentleman. I was like, oh, the first word I actually said in my head was, "You're for real? Like you're real?" Because I had seen him in my visions for a long, long time. Um, I'd never talked about my spiritual space. I'd never told anybody. I didn't talk about it. I didn't, I wasn't talked about. So in this moment, I was like, whoa, dude, you're real? Like, whoa. And because I had seen him. So he kind of did the same thing to me. So there was this automatic recognition of we something's up here. And it was way bigger than that, but and then
Hmm.
when so in that moment he could feel how sad I was. I was incredibly sad. And the moment he said it, he's like, "Oh my gosh, are you ever sad?" He started to like well up, and I burst into tears. And he's like, "Oh no, no, hang on, just have a seat." So we sat down, and he asked me, "Can you think of anything in your past that when you think about it makes you feel sad?" I'm like, "What do you think, buddy? Like, are you kidding?" And I'm, doing one of those. And he's like, "Hang on," and then he just asked me to close my eyes, and I did. And it was the most incredible couple of minutes of my life because not only could I not feel sad again ever, like I can feel sad in moments because that's presence, but it doesn't last. It was gone. And all the stories that were attached to my sad were completely gone. I couldn't find them in my head. I could see them, I could see the stories, but I couldn't feel them. And that was incredible. That was like, what did this guy just do? And that was that click. Like, I'm going to figure out what he did because I want this in my life. I want whatever just happened. I want this in my life. This is incredible. This is going to solve my problems because this works. So I then spent time with him saying, if you can fix me with all my crap, you can fix anybody. Like this will work. So he did. He took it on as a challenge and he's like, Stacey, it works every time. And I'm like, again, now I feel
Hmm.
betrayed. Do this. I'm mad. Do this. I'm angry. Do this. I feel abandoned. Do that. He just stayed steady with me and just did every horrible feeling. 'Cause again, I was in a bad place, but here I am, this powerhouse businesswoman. This power, I had done all of these things, and life just kind of threw me a fastball right in the face. And I just didn't get up for a minute. And this technique allowed me to get up. So since then, what it's done is it's empowered me that anytime I want to do something that's a little bit nerve wracking, like again, years ago, I'm not a podcast person. This was not something being center of attention is like not my thing. I am back of the house. I'm operations on purpose. I'm like a rodent. Put me in the back. Like I'll come to the concert, but I'm in the back. I want to be there days in advance. So being center of attention, being the public speaker, like all of these things, I had to get up and I had to get through. I had to be that Nike ad, and it's like do it anyways. But privately, I was working on my own inhibitions, my own blocks of being able to expand and really keep my word of sharing this with the world. So it doesn't end. Like our blocks don't end because as we keep it, unless we stop expanding, unless we stop growing, which I'm not interested in that at all. So every time I take a step into a new space, there's a whole new set of stuff I got to learn,
Yeah.
right? So it's like now podcasts, I can do podcasts because I have no reservations anymore. I'm totally comfortable. I feel fine. You know what I mean? Where I used to be like, okay, hot flashes, I'm sweating, like the sweat's coming down my face. And I would do them. But I look back on those podcasts all those years ago, it's like, ooh, there's a rookie. Like,
Oh.
you know. Uh, but
Yeah.
but because we all want to grow, because we all want to expand and succeed in bigger goals, this technique allows us to do that because it doesn't matter what the reservation or the hesitation or the resistance is. This technique removes the resistance so that we can do it without fear, without resistance, without any blocks. So yeah,
Well, the word blocks is a great vocabulary word. What is a block according to the Fix It code?
sure. It's like fear of success, fear of failure. If you have to do a public speaking, if you have to do a presentation, and you were like me, reserved, quiet in the background, hard worker, but don't want to be at the front of the room doing the presentation, but you've been asked to do that presentation, you spend, from the moment you're asked to do it, your anxiety's rising
Mm-hmm.
because you're like, oh God, oh God, oh God. Now you're out buying an outfit. Now you think you got to lose 10 pounds. Now you're going out to buy a new lipstick. You're getting a new haircut. Like, and it just keeps going. So this technique goes, hey, hey, hey. So if this was your client, she'd come get out of work or call you right from her desk and go, oh my God, Elizabeth, I was told I have to do this presentation. I am losing. I can't. There's no way. I'm not, no, no, I gotta get out of this. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
That's the block. So you would just be like, hey, it's okay. When you think about all that, how does it make you feel? Scared out of my mind. Okay. So you're making pictures of the future going wrong, and your client's going to go, yeah, making a fool of myself or saying something, whatever it is. Okay. Or, yeah, like failing. Okay. When you see those pictures, you're afraid of what? Whatever she says, then you just say, great, close your eyes, and you do the work with her. And within a couple of minutes, she will never feel that feeling again. So she is that much closer to doing that presentation like a rock star. And that is why your clients are going to call you because in a couple of minutes, you don't even need to know what's going on. They're just going to call you and
Mm-hmm.
go, freaking out, not okay. And you don't need to know why. It's like the amount of times I do this work with people getting on an airplane or that are waiting to get on an airplane or in a taxi because they're going to a meeting. Um, because this removes the block of what they're anxious about or what their mind is racing about or and they can't think. And this is to me how life coaches can help people in the moment move through what is stopping them from being like doing it without any effort at all, with total ease. So one of the many things that this technique um, does is give you grace. It allows your life to have ease because if you're embarrassed, everybody's embarrassed. I've never met one person that doesn't feel embarrassed. So imagine
It's
your life
true.
without, right? Without feeling embarrassed. So even as a life coach, if you can, which I love this part of my program, which is the laser coaching, because that's just like in the moment, people can call me and get her done, like have that access to me like that. So you can add that to your private practice. People love it, especially high level business people and athletes. They don't want to come to you once a week or they want you
Mm,
when they need you, right? So
yes.
that's a really fabulous program because they're only it's taking 5 minutes of your time. You're not stopping your day. You can do this over the phone. You don't have to stop and do Zoom. Like they're not going to do that. They're in a cab. They're in they're about to board a plane. You know that kind of thing. So this is like a 5 minute thing. So that's one product I love. The other one is as you're working with someone, let's say once a week or every 2 weeks, whatever your packages are, is you can put programs together because I know that because I've been
Hmm.
doing this forever now, there's a pattern to this. Most people on the planet can feel embarrassed. Well, let's get rid of it because embarrassed is attached to your self-confidence. If you feel embarrassed, you have low self-esteem, even though you may not look it, even though the world would never question that, you do. You are that Nike commercial that goes and does it anyways and puts a smile on. But if you're embarrassed about anything in your life or even like of yourself, you're going to shy down. You're going to put your head down more. You're not going to be as out there as you want to be or as sparkly as you want to be because embarrassed keeps us dim. Embarrassed keeps us, don't look at me. Oh gosh, I hope they don't know this. All those things. So, same with like betrayed. If most people in the world can feel betrayed, so many people come to life coaches because they can't trust anymore. And then they're even nervous that they've made the right decision with hiring a life coach. It's like, I mean, it's like, right? They're constantly second guessing themselves. And and I have met almost everybody that I've met. When we do the work around betrayal, they get not only do they start trusting the world again, they start trusting themselves again. So now you've got your business people trusting their decisions, trusting the direction they're taking in their project or their marketing campaign or whatever. They are trusting themselves again instead of going home and then rolling it around all night long. Well, when you're doing that, You're not present with your family because you're thinking about, did I do the right thing today? Should I have said that? All of those things. And this again, that's just betrayal. That takes a couple of minutes and it's gone. So you start trusting the world again and you start trusting yourself again. No more second guessing. Imagine a life of no more second guessing. That would be some people's dream life. If I didn't second guess myself, I would literally have 50% of my life back because I make a
Right.
decision and then I spent 50% of the rest of my day second guessing that decision. And it took me 2 weeks to make that decision. And now,
Yes.
okay, it's a never ending. So again, 5 minutes and that would be gone forever. The neural pathways are healed almost instantly. So you totally forget you ever didn't trust. You totally forget you ever second guessed. And you get 50% of your lifetime back because, like, lifetime, because you're not spending your time second guessing what you just spent 2 weeks making a decision. Imagine the fear of making the wrong decision. That's in
Hmm.
every corporate person's life I've ever met. It's in every mom's life I've ever met. Like,
Yes.
okay, imagine not being afraid of making the wrong decision. Changed my life because now I can make decisions all over the place. I'm not second guessing myself. So when I make the decision, if it blows up, I handle it. I'm a very confident person. So are all of our clients. But if you have all of those horrible feelings, programs running you in the background, you're headed for um, illness, fatigue, weakness, like body fatigue for sure, mind just numbing out on you, um, can't think, crabby, exhausted, and burnout. Like, because these things burn you out versus just making the decision, moving on, making the decision, moving on. Oh, that didn't work. Okay, let's regroup. Let's do this again. Okay, that didn't work. Like, and you're not embarrassed. Where if you were embarrassed, you'd be like, oh gosh, I can't go to the office tomorrow. Now you're like, whatever. Let's just pack that up and let's go over there. I'm going to have to go talk to finance for a minute because I spent a little bit of money on that, but no big deal, right? The confidence comes back, the trust comes back, um, the fear of failure, that's gone. Imagine every single person that comes to a life coach wants to get past fear of failure because that's what we do with them. We put goals in front of them. We give them strategies to be able to succeed in even if it's small goals. Well, if they didn't have the fear of failure, imagine what you could do with your clients if they came to you and said, let's set goals and let's do this. Because every time you set a goal, a new goal, I know in my own life, if I set a new goal, there's a whole set of new stuff that I got to deal with because I've never done it before,
That's right.
right? So now it's like, okay, what? So let's pretend I want to learn how to play tennis. I've rolled my ankle over a couple of times as a gymnast. So now I'm going in at 56 years old, going, I'm going to learn a brand new sport. Okay. I don't know where I'm going. So fear of getting lost. I'm blowing this out of proportion, but it's like all of
No,
them
you
has said I want to.
as far as just but the first thing is excuse me, as soon as I heard you say that, I started laughing to myself because that is the thing that would keep me from even getting to the tennis training appointment.
There you go. See? So here I am making up a story and I've just lit up a fear in you by accident, right?
Right.
Because so now
Yes, you
you're like,
did.
yeah, I'm not going to play tennis. Imagine if you've always said to yourself, I would really love to learn how to play tennis, but I won't because I'll probably roll my ankle over and then that's going to take me out of work. I'm not going to be able to get the kids to school because I know I'm going to roll over my right ankle and that's my gas foot. And it's like you just start making stuff up. So you actually never go and ever learn how to play tennis. But now you're going to hire a life coach and you're like, this is my goal. I want you to help me get past everything that I need to get past, which is basically myself, because I really want to learn tennis. Well, in a very short period of time with me, like probably a half an hour with me, you will have no reservations or no hesitations and no fears about going and playing tennis or learning how to play tennis at all. And you'll go and play tennis and you will not roll your ankle over. You won't because you're not afraid of rolling your ankle over. See,
Right.
stuff
Yeah.
happens to us. Like we become what we think about, right? So if I'm afraid of rolling my ankle over, then I'm going to roll my ankle over because the universe gives us exactly what we ask for or expect. So if I'm expecting to roll my ankle over, even though I don't want to, the universe conspires to give me everything I want. It doesn't care. It doesn't care if it's a rolled ankle or total success. It doesn't care. So with this technique, we remove all of those things that are stopping you from reaching your goal, whatever that may be. And for every person, it's going to be completely different. But from a life coach perspective, you're actually going to be moving your clients to their goals faster and with much more grace. And your clients are going to be succeeding at their targets, at their goals,
Mm.
because everything that was stopping them is now gone. So you're still going to do all of the things that you do in your existing practices. But when someone comes up against a resistance or a block or a fear, you do this, you get rid of it, you move on. And what you'll find is that your clients say to you, okay, now I want to do this. Okay, can we do that thing that you do, that fixed code thing? Yeah, can we do that? Because that really works. Like I'm actually now in a ladies league for tennis. I play every Tuesday night. It's so much fun. I've met great friends, all those things. Um, our lives expand faster
Mhm.
and with more grace because you don't have to be the Nike commercial anymore. Because the Nike, I'm picking on Nike because it's such an incredible precision of an attitude, right?
Yes. Hmm.
Right? It's an attitude. It's no matter what I'm feeling, you do it anyways. I get that. I've done that my whole life. But now I get to do what I want without firing up my cortisol, without hurting my body, without pushing my body to extremes or my mental capacity to extremes through fear that is absolutely terrifying because public speaking is terrifying to me. Okay. All of those things don't happen now. I didn't get sick. Nothing happened. I'm thriving through this experience because I'm not afraid of anything. So I am expanding as a person without having like to white knuckle life. And I love that because it doesn't matter what it is, whether it's tennis or public speaking or a boardroom or a 5-year-old ballet recital. Like it doesn't matter. Each individual, each human being has these fears or stopping us from enjoying life and from experiencing a bigger, beautiful, more beautiful life. Um, and this technique does it in 5 minutes. It just disconnects it completely forever.
Yeah, and I really enjoy having a guide as someone who is a proponent of help from
Yeah,
coaching and advisors, and that's what's great about being able to talk to you directly. Now, before I forget too, because I uh, need to make sure I know how to get in touch with you, and do I want to sign up with you somewhere? Do I want to read more somewhere? How do I get in touch with you?
that's great. Okay, so our website is thefixedcode.com. And just as an aside, the fixed code actually stands um, the F is for Fleer, which is Daniel's last name. The
Okay.
I is for intuition. The X is for actually the extraction process that we do. Like that's actually the technique. And then the code is sad, hurt, betrayed, whatever the client says to me after the magic question. We call it the magic question. When I asked you about the biggest problem you have in your life right now, that's the magic question. So whatever your answer is the code. So we put it all together and it's called the fixed code. So I just wanted to say that because
Mm.
it's kind of cool. Yeah. So we made that up about, I don't know, 12 years ago or something. We sitting on my couch, we figured it out. We came up with it. But so you can find us at thefixedcode.com. And on that page, there's lots to read. But what we offer is a complimentary 15-minute session so that you actually get to try the technique for yourself and feel it and experience it. Because I can talk till the cows come home, but unless you experience it, it's like trying to explain to someone what diving into a pool is like. And like
Right.
you can't. You can try, um, and you can use a lot of adjectives and really good storytelling, but unless somebody dives in the pool and really feels it, they can't know what we're talking about. So we
Yeah.
offer a complimentary 15-minute session, and so that you can try it. So please, like, click that button. There's also something called Trauma to Triumph, which is a 5-day virtual summit, and it's um, I think on the first day I do a manifesting class. On the second day I do something else, and it's kind of like 5 days of who we are, and in that it keeps saying like book a session, book a complimentary session, because we want you to try it. We want you
Mhm.
to experience this, and most people that try it are like, oh yeah, no, I got to learn this, or they say I'd like to be your client. And it's like, okay, so there are clients out there, and then there are people that want to learn how to do this. We welcome everybody because we have fixed code life coaches who are here to help as many people as we can. And they are life coaches. They've added the fixed code to their repertoire, to their private practice. And for us, they work with clients, um, fixed code clients, with the fixed code. So at the end of the short questionnaire, when you submit it, there's going to be a line that says book here, and you're going to get popped over to all the practitioners that are working this month, and I'm there too. And you can book a session with any one of us, and it's all complimentary. Yeah.
Well, that's really exciting. Okay, so and Stacey Nye, now let's see. Oh, I've kept you past time.
That's
Okay.
okay.
Well, goodness. Alrighty. You know what? I'd like to have you back again sometime soon. I am so
Sure.
flattered that you wanted to talk with me and share this with me because I I have some background in all kinds of um I love people who are coaches. I have many friends who are also private practitioners in different niches. And so we're always looking for um a way to share expertise, but also, as you're saying, let's get these blocks out of the way and being able to
Don't
work
let
with
it
an
get away.
actual educated guide is the thing that gets you there a little faster.
So yeah, if there's anybody out there that really wants to learn this, just let us know. We've actually got a class starting. The system is actually an online training. It's a 10 module online training, so you can learn at your own pace. No pressure, do your own thing. But then we also do 3 live events, which are 10 weeks at a time, and one starting in March 5th. So if this is something that you want, the 10-week live starts soon. So
Nice.
jump in, try this, book a session with me if you want to, book a session with anybody that you want, that resonates with you. But if you've got questions about the course or questions about how this works or anything, just hop in and book a 15-minute with me and take the time to ask me the questions. So we are here to support anybody that wants to learn this. We're also here to support anybody that needs help, that is looking for a practitioner or a life coach that has the skill that can help you through anything, whether that's from trauma to, kicking it on stage as a ballerina or whatever it is, getting through high school exams, whatever it is, we're here to help.
That's
Yeah.
exactly right. Whatever it is, we're here
Yeah.
to help. Thank
Yeah.
you so much, Stacey. I hope you have a
You're very welcome.
fantastic day, and we'll be in talking soon.
Thank you so much. It was a pleasure. Thank you.
Okay. Hey, listeners, don't forget to subscribe to email if you haven't already. Do this at dearbusinesscoachpodcast.com. And if you are a new subscriber, look for the magazine coming up. You can get a free download as a new subscriber. That's dearbusinesscoachpodcast.com. Thanks so much, and I hope you're having a fantastic day. Remember, you are a superstar.